Hi there, my name is Bryony Rose Smith, and I'd like to read you a story today. This story is by myself, and it is called A Gnome Went to Work. I hope you enjoy. Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a gnome went to work. It started as a day like any other for Grog. Gnomes and dwarves worked together in the mines, digging deeper and deeper, gaining more and more riches to sell across the world. Gnomes like Grog, due to their small stature, were sent down the smallest tunnels. Down Grog went with his pickaxe and lantern, down, down, down into the depths of the dark mine to extend it even further. With a mighty swing of his pickaxe, the cave wall before him came crashing down. Light and heat flooded the shaft. Grog flinched away, only able to peek through his arms in an attempt to see. However, he could make out a silhouette against the blinding light. "Who are you to break into my home?" said a deep and annoyed voice. Grog didn't know what to say, what to do. The silhouette was small as he was, but it had 2 horns. Its limbs were strangely long and thin, and a pointed tail flicked behind it. It was silent as it waited for his response. "Sorry, I didn't realize anyone lived down here." "Many live down here," the creature snapped. I see." The gnome had never heard of such a thing, but wasn't about to question the evidence before him. "Repay me 3 requests, and I will forgive this crime," the creature offered. Grog did not want to be rude, so he nodded his acceptance. "Good," the voice gave a sinister chuckle. "My first request is that you bring me a fairy." Grog hesitantly agreed, and went to perform his task. It was not too difficult. Fairies were common, small, humanoid insects used in magic. Grog did worry what he would use it for, but nonetheless he had to pay for his crime against the creature, so the next day he brought them a fairy. "Thank you," the creature said. "You will have my next request tomorrow." Grog nodded, and for that day carried on with his work, making sure to avoid the direction the creature was in. While he worked, the creature would ask him questions. "What are you doing here?" "Mining." "What are you mining for?" "Valuable metals and jewels and the like." "Where do you go once you're done here?" "Home." "Where is your home?" "On the surface." "What is on the surface?" Grog did his best to answer everything the creature asked. It was the least he could do after breaking into his home. However, they did ask questions Grog didn't know the answer to sometimes. "What is the sky? What is grass? What is a flower?" All the while Grog would sneak glances at the creature. Even at angles where the light from the creature's home did not blind him, he could not see features on them. Their black silhouette seemed to be all there was of them. He also expected the creature to take in the fairy, kill it for its magic. But it had held the jar to its featureless face, turning it around seemingly to simply admire the creature. Finally, he asked a question of its own. "What's your name? Mine's Grog." "Grog," the creature repeated in interest, though it took a while before they answered with their own. "Fellas." Grog nodded. "It's good to meet you, fellas." "Indeed." Grog left that day without a request from the creature. But even so, he went out to a flower shop and brought fellas a selection of flowers the next day. "Thank you, Grog." The creature embraced the flowers, bringing the bunch to his face as if to smell without a nose, and rubbing the petals between his fingers. "But I did not request these." "They're a gift. Not good with words. Much easier to show you." The gnome explained before getting back to work. I believe I have my second request, Fellas spoke. Show me more. Grog nodded. Then I will bring more tomorrow. Over the next few days, Grog showed Fellas many things. His favourite after-work snack, a painting of a grassy field, a book about crafting and building, the currency of the land, jewellery he had crafted himself. With those props, Grog found it easier to tell Fellas stories of the surface, and eventually Fellas made his final request. I request that you bring me to the surface. I wish to bear witness to all the wonders you have told me about. Grog agreed. That day when he got off shift, Fellas hid in his shadow as they made their way to the surface. Night had already fallen by the time they exited the mines. Fellas was in a way of everything. The stars in the sky, the wind that blew the leaves across the road. They danced around Grog in amazement as they made their way to his home. Grog treated Fellas to a home-cooked dinner, and the two had a wonderful evening. They stayed up all through the night, as Fellas asked about everything in the house, and Grog told him all about the things he would see tomorrow. The rooster crowed, and the sun started to rise. Fellas looked out of the window. Thank you for the evening, Grog. You have shown me so much, they told him. Don't thank me yet. It's a new day. Grog rubbed his eyes tiredly. No, this is the end. There is a reason a shade like me lives underground. However, I have always dreamed of bearing witness to the light of the surface. It is told to be beautiful and terrible. That much I can agree with. Fellas's gaze was firmly on the window, and Grog watched in horror as the shade faded away. Thank you for breaking into my home and making my little dream come true. The shade had disappeared. The end. Sorry, that one's a bit of a sad one. Grog and Fellas do not get to be happy, but Fellas got to achieve his dream. I can only hope that Grog got to go on and be happy too. I hope you enjoyed this story. It was by me. If you would like to read any more short stories from me, you can join my Patreon, as Gnome Went to Work is one of 30 plus short stories written by me. If you would like to read an actual book I have written, I have the Moon Girl book series, which is a superhero series. They are backed by a media company, and the main character is a 20-something who just wanted a job and ended up a hostage in a villain's plan and then a superhero. It's quite fun. There's 4 books out in the series so far. Links in the description. I really hope you enjoyed this. See you next month.